Welcome to Seattle Maritime Matters. Hi, I'm Ken Saunderson with the Seattle Propeller Club, and today I'm joined by Jeff Horst, who is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Foss Maritime. Thanks for joining us today, Jeff.
Thanks, Ken. It's great to be with you.
Hey, let's start with having you tell us a little bit about Foss Maritime.
Foss Maritime is a Seattle institution. We started on the Tacoma waterfront in 1889 when a family, Henry and Thea Foss, started renting rowboats out so different companies could carry provisions out to the ships in the harbor. And since then, we have grown to the largest tugboat company on the U.S. West Coast and one of the most recognizable brands in maritime in the world.
And it's interesting, you have operations around the globe now, too. It's not just in the Puget Sound area on the West Coast.
That's correct. We primarily, everybody knows Foss to assist ships into the port here. They see out their front window, but we tow projects around the world through the Panama Canal on the East Coast, to Asia, to Africa, to Europe. We're doing maritime operations all over the planet.
And tell me about the services that you provide for your customers, the type of projects that you're involved with.
Yeah, so I would say about 40% of our business is the work you see us perform in the harbor. So when ships come into port, they need to be assisted into the dock, away from the dock. When oil tankers transit the Puget Sound or under the Golden Gate Bridge, they need to be escorted. But we also do a lot of project work, large modules and projects up to Alaska or out to Guam or out to Hawaii. We have a line handling service. We have pilot boats. We have terminal services where we operate some terminals at some different ports. So really, we're pretty deep into the maritime supply chain. We have a lot of services on a lot of different locations.
I think one of the cool things about Foss, as many people don't know, is that you're part of a larger company, Saltcheck, which is female-owned and based right here in the Northwest. You have some sister companies. That must give you a competitive advantage, being able to work with those companies for various projects and opportunities that come along within the industry.
Yeah, for sure, Ken. We have different conveyance, different types of conveyance for all the Saltcheck companies. We have deep sea ships, we have trucks, we have warehouses, we have distribution, we operate terminals. Our primary theater of operation is either the Pacific Rim, the U.S. West Coast, out to the islands, up in Alaska, and from Florida to Puerto Rico. But these companies operate all over the world, and we can generally work together on projects to add air to an ocean piece or trucking to a project piece. And it's really fun when we get to work with our sister companies in creating a customer solution.
One of the cool things about Foss is that you've been a global leader in environmental stewardship. Talk about that commitment and things like the investment in the hybrid tugs and other things that you're involved with.
Yeah, for sure. It's tough being the first at something, and you usually want to be the second. But we were the first to build and operate the first hybrid tugboat in Long Beach about 12 years ago. We had since built a second one. We were out in front, Saltcheck and Foss, in LNG technology, with the deep sea ships that operate from Jacksonville to Puerto Rico, and then from Tacoma up to Alaska. And then we built and operated the first ever LNG bunker barge to fuel those ships down in Florida. We're getting big into the wind sector. We were just recently named as a primary maritime partner to the first ever wind project that's going to be going up on the U.S. East Coast. So we're always looking down the road. The environment drives a lot of that decision making. The environment drives a lot of the technology advancements and investments by the companies. So you always have to be looking ahead to what the environment is going to require of a company like ours.
Foss provides hundreds of family wage jobs. Talk a little bit about employment at Foss and the kind of jobs that might be available for a person that's interested in a career in the maritime industry.
Yeah, it's a spectacular place to work, and it has a lot of different opportunities. I encourage all my friends and family and young people that I come across to look at the maritime business, from working on the boats to working in the office, be it project management or wanting to be a deckhand and work your way up to a captain, depending what level of schooling you want to take. Either a little bit of school and starting to work on a boat, or kind of something a little bit more advanced to working in the office. It is it offers a lot of changes, a lot of diversity, a lot of different aspects to it. If you want to see the world on a boat, I mean, we're a good place to come and work. And it's a good place to start a career as a young age. And it's one of those things that you can work your way up through the organization. Very fun. We have boats that you can work on during the day, that you can work on for 2 weeks at a time. You can work on for 2 months at a time. If you work on a boat for 2 months at a time, that means you get 2 months off. So for some people, that would be very appealing. And whether it be Alaska or Hawaii or down in Florida, there's just a lot of opportunity depending on what your interests are.
You know, I can really sense your passion for the maritime industry. Talk a little bit more about your belief in the future of this great industry.
Well, it's always changing. So, you know, I'll just focus on energy for 1 second. Energy is always changing. You know, America became a net exporter of energy here just a few years ago with the development of the Bakken fields in the upper Midwest. It's how energy changes, how logistics change, how trading patterns change, completely change our industry on a constant basis. So ships that used to come to just discharge on the East Coast and rail to the West Coast, or discharge the West Coast and rail to the East Coast. Now the ships are much bigger. Ships are as big as a long par 4. We constantly have to change as the industry changes. We need to build bigger tugs and more fuel efficient tugs and more emission friendly tugs. And it's constantly changing with the way that America changes and energy changes and trading pattern changes. So it certainly keeps us on our toes, and but we're up for the challenge, and given the size and strength of our parent company, we can stay out in front of the industry and the customer needs.
Thanks for joining us today, Jeff.
My pleasure, Ken. Always great to see you.